Paint the Universe, the podcast for artists. And today I'm sitting down with a good friend and a talented artist and avid traveler and fellow proud Wisconsinite, Josh Roy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited to finally sit down with you, dude.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been about a year since I saw you last.
Yeah.
Been about a year now, so it's nice to get a reconnect with old friends from Wisconsin. I feel like I've been doing a bit of that since I've moved out here.
Mm-hmm. Just hit the 1 year, right? On there?
Yeah, I moved down here from Steamboat Springs after spending the winter up there skiing and snowboarding. It was a really good time.
Awesome. What was the highlight of being up in Steamboat?
Just getting to experience the nature and the snow. I mean, I'd never seen snow like that since I was a kid living in the Midwest. And I mean, it was like record breaking. It was, I think, the second most snow they'd ever had on record. Mm-hmm. So I definitely picked a good year to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think I went up to Steamboat once for Strawberry Hot Springs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's beautiful.
I got to make it up there.
It's beautiful. Have you hit any hot springs yet?
I did a handful on my road trip before I got to Steamboat, but just Strawberry for the most part when I was living up there in Steamboat.
Totally.
They're a little bit further from Denver, so I feel like I'm a city boy now. Back in it.
Yeah.
I like to make it up to the mountains when I can on the weekends, and just started frisbee golfing with some friends, and it's been fun to kind of reconnect with old friends from Wisconsin, the area, and yeah. Everybody in Denver seems like they're from somewhere else. I feel like that's just kind of the vibe out here, which is very different from Wisconsin. I feel like everybody, assumes you're from the area or grew up in a small town nearby. So
yeah,
I'm enjoying the experience and getting to meet a lot of different people and make a lot of new connections and enjoying the ride.
Awesome. I'm glad to finally sit down after we were in like adjacent art scenes in Wisconsin for so long. Like myself in Madison and then you in Milwaukee.
Yeah, Madison's a fun city. I spent about 3 years there when I was going to college, and definitely a great place to live. I enjoyed the Isthmus a lot. It seems to be ever changing. Always building new stuff every time I go back.
Yep.
Recognize it a little bit less,
Yep.
But that's kind of the fast pace of a small area, and they're always expanding and building new stuff. I like going back and visiting, though. I've been back to Wisconsin like twice in the last month to see family and get to meet my nephew and see my friend get married, and just nice kind of remembering I have those long-time connections in my life and people that support me even if there's a great distance between us. So always fun to do, and Denver's good for flights, so it's not too much of a struggle to go back for a short weekend, and I'm enjoying the Denver life.
Yeah,
it's like right in the middle of everything. I feel like I'm making connections all the time with people from all over the country and all different kind of like flavors and styles of life, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's like all the changes and differences I wanted. Like I don't know, when you've been someplace so long and kind of built up something that feels steady and comfortable, it's nice to kind of sometimes break out of that and try something new, and I don't know, see where it takes you. I mean, there's really no guarantees in life, but I don't know, I feel like I've learned a lot about myself and just kind of what I'm capable of along the way. I mean, isn't really something I thought I could do, in my 20s, and now that I'm a little bit more stable in my life and kind of just more confident in, my abilities, and I don't know, Milwaukee was a great place to be an artist and to grow. So it's nice to be transplanted to another area, quite literally. So
I meet so many Wisconsin peeps. Yeah, either friends that moved out here before or just in the workplace.
One of my first fun events was like a backyard party in Boulder, and it was just like they had a canopy and all the musicians and all different bands, and they were just jamming. It was going late into the night, potluck food, fire spinning. They were like, oh yeah, bring your art and paint. Like, I don't know, it was fun. Like everybody there was like, "Oh, I'm from Illinois, Wisconsin."
Yeah.
Like feel like I'm at a Midwest party in Colorado. I don't know.
Yes.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Met a lot of friends at once, so always nice to go out to events and, feel recognized. It's a big city, so, over the past year I've just kind of been going out and doing my thing, making connections where I can, and finding more live painting opportunities, and also kind of getting stuff around town, more businesses around the city, and just trying to reach more, but just trying to find, the right opportunities and places that are going to kind of help me on that and get more exposure, which is kind of what I'm after living here. So I feel like this summer is going to be a bit more making of art and sharing it than going to concerts and just talking to people and, just sharing photos on my phone. It was easy and fun, good way to meet a lot of people at once. But now that I'm here and, finding more opportunities, I feel like it's heading on the right track. So.
Well, you're finally settling down out here after traveling across the country, right? Or how far out west did you go? I'm not super familiar.
So I left back in August of 2022, and I was on the road for 5 months. I was going all the way up north in North Dakota, Montana. I had friends like pretty much in every state and family. Got family all over the U.S., so it was nice to, feel that connection, traveling on my own, just, be set up and comfortable instead of like sleeping in my tent or staying in hotels. It was a nice time. I feel like I really experienced so much. I mean, it was something I'd always dreamed of doing, and I just feel like, everything was kind of set up in my life at that time in a way where it just felt like it was the moment to do it, like it was feasible and, not something I really could have done before that point in my life. So glad I was able to make it happen and had all those experiences to draw from, and just kind of, it's a big country, so just kind of getting to experience all those different places and viewpoints and, meeting locals and just seeing how, people live. A lot of places I'd never been before. The Southwest, especially in the desert, I'd never really traveled to that area before.
I have a growing interest.
It gets cold at
Yeah.
night for sure.
Yeah.
I guess that was not something I realized about the desert until I was traveling through it. I really enjoyed the experiences and the people helping me out. But, as soon as I got to Steamboat, like coasting in, I got a job with the resort right next to the mountain. I was up there 3 times a week. And before that, I'd only skied twice in my life, snowboarded once or twice as well, like Little Switzerland and Slinger.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a hill in comparison. There is no comparison really.
I think of Tyrol Basin back
Yeah.
home. Yeah, in Mount Horeb or Blue Mountains. I can't recall exactly.
It was fun though. I mean, I really took to it quickly, and it was something I enjoyed doing as a kid. Just on the little hills and snow skateboarding was my thing. But I feel like skis was pretty easy and quick to pick up. But snowboarding's definitely my preference. I feel like you can do a lot more with it and just kind of feel the mountain a bit more. Skiing kind of gets boring at a certain point, just kind of standing there.
French fries and pizza, bro. Yo.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think I ran into a tree when I was like 12, and I haven't skied ever since.
Okay.
That was the
Yeah,
extent
they're
of
real
it.
up there. I mean, there's tree wells you can fall into. I mean, there were
Yep.
branches I'd hit sometimes, but yeah, I'd see people all over town with casts and broken legs. And,
Exactly. Like, I'm not even aware enough to know the dangers of going in there yet. It's like,
when I was working there, I was driving a shuttle, so I got to share all my stickers and my artwork
cool.
with people, like staying at the resort and play the music I liked. And I don't know, I felt like I've met a lot of people in that time, even though I was only up there, like 3 months or so. I felt like, even just making opportunities to like live paint at the local venue there. It was Schmiggy's.
oh yeah.
I like live painted for some, big names out there, and got to meet a lot of people. And, even though it was a small town, like had that resort life, you know, where it was like party all the time. Like, I don't know,
Mm.
you definitely meet some characters, you know, people that just never really settle down. They're just always on the road, and definitely characters for sure.
Mm.
Made friends with people in the town, and you know, it's always fun to go back and visit, and
Mm.
it's a very beautiful place. I like going up in the mountains.
Awesome. Those mountain towns have character.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Kind of just like the country towns. You
Get
know, I
away
think,
from it all for a little bit.
and that's wild. And I love that even the venues way up deep in the mountains. I've seen that on quite a few runs, but I've never been
Mm-hmm.
still yet. Have you been to like Dillon Amphitheater yet?
I've not been up there yet for that.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to though.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
Good.
Red Rocks. I feel like I was going to a lot last summer.
Mm.
Got to take my parents up there for the Revivalist. It was like
Cool.
raining.
Cool.
They really enjoyed it. They had a great time.
Have you been up this year yet? Yeah.
Not yet this summer. I've honestly just been kind of laying low a little bit more and trying to do more art and just kind of get reconnected with what I came out to Denver to do.
Mm.
You know, not like, I don't know, get distracted. I mean, there's so many distractions in the city. I mean, there's a lot of fun things, but there's also only so much time. I mean, I'm working full time, not having as much pressure to provide myself solely through art, you know, which is, you know, a struggle in and of itself at times. Like, it's amazing when life presents you the opportunity to do that, you know, and make the most of it when you can, but also, you know, there's no reason to struggle. I feel like it's what's been supporting me throughout, you know, being here this last year, just in general. So glad I got a schedule that works and got the weekends off and everything I need.
Mm. Glad you're finding that balance.
Yeah.
It's tough between the beauty of being your own boss and then the pressure,
Mm-hmm.
of it. And yeah, not having that pressure to create
Definitely.
is freeing at times.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like there's so many artists out here that I've been meeting and people I've been following online for years, and it's just cool to kind of get to make those connections in real life and, you know, just kind of get an idea of how other artists make a living doing what they love doing, and feel like there's a lot to learn, you know, so also absorbing all that I can in the time that I'm out here, you know. It's all about the experience in and of itself and what you take away from it. So I feel like sometimes, you know, not having high expectations or unrealistic, you know, views of what you should be or where you should be at, and not comparing yourself to others, but just kind of putting in the work and, you know, having the drive to do that for yourself. I mean, no one else will do it for you at the end of the day. So it's nice to kind of reconnect with that in a different way and enjoying it, you know, ups and downs with anything in life, but feel like in the end it's, you know, everything I wanted coming out here. So
those expectations are huge.
Yeah.
I've been learning,
Mhm.
whether it's in the art you make or your relationships or in yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, and setting, like, I've been working on where I find my value from. Yeah, and like in a friendship or in my art, you know, and where I feel good about it. Progress. Yeah, not perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this painting here, been definitely putting in a lot of layers and kind of feeling like the perfectionism is taking a lot of time. So I've been kind of stepping away from it and working on other things and trying other techniques and doing more kind of free flow and other things, and maybe some more monochromatic, like less color, dialing different things down, trying different techniques. And, you know, it's nice to just experiment at times and not feel the need to, like, just keep doing the same thing over and over because it works, because people like it, you know. Because I feel like right now with the freedom to kind of not rely on that selling constantly and pushing it, you know, it was just kind of giving me more freedom to experiment more and get back into just the joy of making art and what inspires me and what can I draw from in my life, or, you know, whatever I'm doing at the time.
Yeah.
Being more connected to the moment in and of itself, you know.
And you had brought this piece, or you continued working on this piece after a couple of years, right? The totem.
So that was the year I was doing the live painting at summer camp.
Mm.
It's like a music festival in Wisconsin, or I guess Illinois, Chili Coffee.
Oh yeah.
But it was my home festival, you know, back in like 2011, something like that.
Mm.
So, you know, seeing those artists back then, I was just like, wow, that's so cool. Like, what if I could do that someday, you know? And, you know, I try the contests and try to get in. At a certain point, like, I just kind of gave up because, you know, I just was like, I'm putting in this effort and not feeling anything coming back. So I kind of started focusing more on, you know, the connections I had and the friends in bands and people I knew locally, and kind of cultivating those instead of like shooting for the big one right in the beginning that everyone wants to do kind of in the area.
Mm.
So I just kind of gradually made more connections and kind of got to different events and friends of friends, and eventually like made connections of people that were involved in the events, and, you know, had good conversations and connected, you know, and found opportunities that way. I feel like at the end of the day, you know, it's like more about who you know than what you know sometimes. Like when it comes to like being in a giant ocean, it feels like just like kind of a drop in the water, you know. It's like so many people out here, so many opportunities, and yeah, I feel like after a year of just kind of meeting more people and finding the right events and the right connections to keep, you know, pursuing. I mean, there's been plenty of opportunities and there's been some busts and some like, why did I, you know, put in all the effort? But, you know, it's like remembering all the years back in Wisconsin when I was kind of building myself up as an artist, and, you know, there'd be nights I'd go out and I wouldn't sell any art, or, you know, feel like people really didn't pay that much attention or want to like talk as much. But, you know, then a few years down the line, they'd be like, oh, I met you that night at that event where my memory was, oh, it kind of sucked, but like, oh, they want to buy an original painting. They've been following my art for, you know, the past few years, and they're really interested. And I'm like, I don't even really remember this person. Like, it's so cool to just kind of like, I don't know, make those connections, and I don't know, feel like people want to support what I love doing. I mean, it's just like those times of my life, you know, supporting myself through art didn't really feel like work. It was just like every morning I wake up and I'd be like, ooh, I gotta create. Like, what am I gonna do today? You know, and having the flexibility to do, you know, whatever I wanted in the moment. If I wanted to just take the day off, I could. But I don't know. I was working like 5-6 days a week, more than 40 hours for sure. But it didn't feel like work, you know. It was just like what I love to do and how I'd make connections and put myself out and meet a lot of people, you know. So Milwaukee was like, you know, it's a pretty small city. So I felt like, you know, I definitely felt that coming back, and then it kind of made me dream a bit more of like more potential, like bigger place, more people that I've not met yet. I felt like over a certain point, like I'd be running into, you know, a lot of friends and people that, you know, I'd met over the years, but, you know, people that had already been familiar with my art, either in a store or a mural or, you know, anything around town at that point, and felt nice. But also like, you know, what else could I be doing? Who else could I be connecting with out there? And figure there's kind of limitless potential behind it, and going to the next step, the next dream, finding what that is.
It's always changing.
Yeah,
too.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah, it brings me back to like Stamp, when you have your eyes opened, all of a sudden you realize, yeah, you don't have to necessarily be a big fish, but you can be in your own lane with your own niche and doing your thing and still support yourself and a family.
Totally.
You know, it's beautiful. And yeah, there'd always be Stampers heavy in Wisconsin. And then it just changed to Soul Shine, right, this year.
Yeah.
And it's this weekend, I think, even.
Yeah, some of my friends are performing, actually. They always do the Battle of the Bands, Undercover Organism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the homies back home. It's nice seeing friends and, you know, knowing that they're still doing the damn thing. And I don't know, it's just nice to, you know, reconnect with friends. I mean, that's why I've kind of been setting my sights on using my vacation time to go home and see family more than going to some huge music festival that's expensive. And, you know, it's like come back to work all drained. And I don't know, it's just like at this point in my life, like, feel like there's other things I'm placing more importance, you know, and like not getting to just be around family and like close friends, you know, just kind of makes those moments a little bit more important, you know, when you do get to have them. So I don't know, a lot of my friends were like, oh, when are you moving back? You know, and it was nice, I enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I had reasons to be dreaming bigger and wanting something else in my life. And you know, at a certain point, if you're kind of waiting for the next thing to happen and just feeling like, you know, you're comfortably waiting for it, like, I don't know, life's short. You know, we shouldn't have to be waiting for the next thing. We should be making it happen for ourselves in the moment that we have at the end of the day. So, I don't know. I feel like there's times in my life where I can, you know, put a lot of time and energy into things other than my art, and they're important to me, but I feel like it's something that's always there for me, you know. So I feel like the best connections are the ones that I have through it, people that, you know, gravitate toward what I'm trying to express one way or another. It's kind of a personal thing, and, you know, nice to just be able to share it in a different way.
Yeah, you got to build your lore, bro. That's my thought, like, on there. And yeah, beyond the art, and you never know where those relationships will circle back from. Yeah, the random person that sees your live painting.
Yeah.
At the show. So you've been doing a lot of mural work then. Now that's getting nicer out too.
I've done a few out in Denver already. One was at like this underground warehouse where they do these kind of rave events. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Been doing some like behind my house on a garage. I've just been kind of throwing up different pieces and practicing different techniques and just having the space to do that. And it's right by a park, and I don't know. It's a nice setup for me in making art right now. I mean, using my studio as my bedroom, and it's everything that I'm needing in one space. And yeah, I've been here for a year now, and it's full of art. More than I could fit in my car anyway.
Years are flying, dude. And yeah, I'm glad you just had that family even just to bring these possessions out there. I have a whole different relationship, with possessions now.
Yeah.
Since moving out here too.
Definitely.
You know,
you accumulate a lot as an artist. You're like, oh, I'm going to use this for something. And then it sits there. And then you're moving. You're like, I never used this for anything. Oh, but I might use it for something else.
You're like, this salsa jar will ride
like
with me.
Borderline hoarding.
Yup.
Honestly, like, I don't know. I was at one bedroom in Milwaukee for about like 4 years or something. It was the longest I was at one place in my life. You know, I was doing art out of there for a long while. And it was nice to just kind of be out of that space. You know, I was like so used to it. I accumulated so many things. And yeah, I mean, being in a small car on the road for 5 months, like traveling the country, you really minimize your life. Really downsize to like, what do I need? And, you know, at the end of the day, I found out, honestly, I didn't even need as much as I thought.
No.
At the end of it.
No.
So, I mean, you can't really take anything with you in the end.
No.
So I feel like the more we hold on to and just kind of more importance we place on things, sometimes we kind of lose sight of, like, you know, what they really mean or what we're giving the meaning to, in a sense. I don't know, and art's much like that too. I mean, there's so many different styles, and people have such different ways of doing it and looking at it that, you know, there's a lot to be learned. Even if you don't gravitate it toward it, you know, like even just the idea or what they're trying to express, sometimes like the meaning behind it is just as important as what you're looking at, you know?
So much. So, dude, like, yeah, the possessions can give this false idea that we can hold on to all this
Right.
right now, and we can't.
It's true.
And I like how our art lives beyond, far,
Mm-hmm.
far beyond us, and like these conversations can live far beyond us too. On
Really.
the podcast.
Yeah, I feel like that's my favorite part of art too, is like there's moments in my life where, I'm drawing from some sort of inspiration or something I'm going through where, it's very meaningful to my own experience. And then to kind of look at it years later, like kind of reminding me of that, and like the experiences I built off of to get to the place where I am, and understanding who I am and why I am what I am. In the end, it's like, taking an emotion or a feeling or something you're grappling with and then releasing it and then looking at it outside of yourself, almost like, you know what I mean? Like it's therapeutic in a way. It's like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Helps.
I immediately think of that feeling when I'm itching. I like just have to get this out on a canvas or a design or a song or a beat, and yeah, whatever this is right now has to go there, and I'll look back on it.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of go in waves with it where, I'm making it all the time. Other times I'm kind of neglecting it, just kind of needing to get back to baseline. It's like, if other things are bothering you in life or you got to figure out or, deal with whatever situation you're going through, it's kind of hard to make art in those moments, if you can't just like go with the flow and just sit down and do it. But I don't know, once I get into it and start making it happen, like feel like a few hours can go by and I'm like, okay, I need to move. Oh yeah, feels nice.
Oh yeah.
It's always good to move around a little bit instead of sitting for like 3 hours at a time sometimes. Even just like on my road trip, I was learning very quickly, you got to make stops. You can't go all day.
Not a fan of car rides ever. Although I remember just the piece of like falling asleep in a car as a child. I really like that. And the bumps, feeling a little woozy.
Yeah, good thing I didn't fall asleep in the car, but actually my first trip out to Colorado with some friends. Well, it wasn't my first time in Colorado, but first time going to Red Rocks anyway. And this guy was driving the car. We were driving all night. 2 people in the back. They were sleeping, and the driver fell asleep. I was the only one awake and just like whipped around and like scared me senseless. It was crazy.
No.
And I drove the rest of the trip because I was just like, no, never again. Like, I like being the driver. I like being in control. Like, just knowing I'm the one making the shots. I don't know. When you go through an experience like that of just like total, like you have no control of the situation, your life's spinning around, could go any direction. Like, I don't know, it's scary. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be in that situation again in life.
No. The sleep exhaustion is real. Yeah, I've heard horror stories, especially like, coming out of festivals. It's always the main caution. Yeah, and it's sad when you've seen like a crash coming out of a festival or something.
There's a lot of crashes in Denver.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like people from California, Texas, like driving crazy, and then all the really like slow, conservative Oregon drivers, and then you put them all on the road together and it's like chaos. It's crazy sometimes.
I've become a savage on the road. Yeah, it's pushed me. It's broken me.
Well, if you're not driving like 15 miles over, it's like you're getting flown by left and right. Like you're driving under the speed limit.
Yup. And then they see my Wisconsin plates and then they're just like riding me and honking me. And I'm like, dude, like, and they're like, go back to Wisconsin. I finally had like my first incident where a car like zoomed past me and was like, screw you, go back to Wisconsin, all this. And I was like, all right, dude, like it's not that serious. But yeah, I want to avoid all the road rage for sure, dude.
That's the best way to do it. Public transportation, though, I say there's a lot of it out here. Like it's not the preference, but when you don't have a car and you need something to get around, it's nice.
It's a solid option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was doing that the other week. I had a little bit of a Denver experience. My car was like busted into, like tried to steal it, all this and that. And, you know, it was nice to realize that there's a train that goes all the way downtown and it's just another 20 minutes onto my commute. You know, it's not what I'd prefer to do, but at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing like that in Milwaukee. I mean, some buses, but I don't think I ever rode those, honestly.
Yeah.
You can get from one side of the city to the other in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Tops.
Yeah. I love the interstate system here. Yeah. And how you can just all connected around the city.
Yeah. I've driven up in the mountains so many times in my little Kia with like the front wheel drive, and it's insane. Like, I would not recommend it in a snowstorm.
I
Some
can
white
already
knuckling.
My Civic has barely been holding on. Yeah, at times going up in the mountains. Even just down to like the oxygen. I feel like it just like the car.
Yeah, like the moves the Subaru.
Yeah.
Everyone's got them out here.
That's the next part of my journey. I feel like once I get the Subaru,
That's
I'm
when
like,
you're truly
I'm locked in.
acclimated to the Colorado lifestyle.
Yo. Thinking about it. Do you have your eyes on any art shows or galleries coming up? Or
I got some kind of art in the park. They do DJs on Sundays, and I got some people that reached out, wanted me to share some art, hang out for the day. There's like, it's a free event. It's at Cheeseman Park. I think that's coming up, I think first Sunday of next month.
Was that in June then? Yeah,
It is June 1st.
It's
Sunday, June 1st.
It's the season now. Cool.
Drum and bass.
All right.
If that's your thing.
All right. Shoot me an invite.
I can do a day of drum and bass, but like if it's a 3-day festival, I don't know. Like any genre, any one genre, 3 days in a row, I'm like, do I really like this anymore?
I like it
when you know.
tastefully sprinkled in there.
Right. I like variety, honestly.
Or it catches you off guard and it just has its own groove, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, I like music a lot. I mean, I play guitar as well. I mean, I've been doing that for about 15 years now. You know, I've never really taken it as seriously or something I want to like pursue as a career or something like that, but it's a good outlet to have in life. Different way to kind of like express things, and something I enjoy doing. I've also been fire spinning for a long while too, and been doing a bit of that out here. Nothing as much like, you know, paid gigs or anything like that, but I feel like there's such a large community of jugglers and performers and people that are doing it all the time. And, you know, at the end of the day, I came out here to be an artist, and like, it's definitely something I'm passionate and enjoy doing. But in, you know, setting the reality that my time is precious and I only have a limited time here on earth, like, what do I want to strive for? Like, what is my real passion at the end of the day that, you know, I want to put that energy into? And I feel like that's art for me. So it's always something I've gravitated toward. And I don't know, even just when I was doing it when I was younger, it was like, felt like what I enjoyed and being recognized for doing a good job. And I don't know, I'd always take classes for it and just, you know, enjoyed having classes where I could just sit around, listen to music and chill out for a little while. And I don't know, good times for sure.
Yeah, it's good to have those outlets that, yeah, maybe you aren't even like looking for these paid gigs or anything. They're just you. And it's cool to touch base with the guitar. You said you've been playing for 15 years. There. It's awesome, man. I've been returned to the bass guitar, and I connected with what you said about the first time I was being recognized. I had those thoughts. And yeah, playing instruments growing up, and there's something beautiful about it. Do you play any other instruments, or did you ever growing up?
Yeah, I played the trombone all through like middle and high school.
Clarinet.
Heck yeah, clarinet. That's awesome. Actually, when I was back in Wisconsin, I ran into my middle school band teacher.
Okay.
And there was a
Okay.
polka band in Germantown. It was
You're
like
like,
the most German thing I've done in years.
he was there, you go?
The band director was
Oh,
was
wow.
at there, yeah,
Wow.
and it was just funny because it was like small world, like
Yeah.
very Wisconsin. You know,
Mm.
you run into the same people you've seen over the years, and
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like I don't know anybody out here from anything over a year. You know, like
Yeah.
don't go that far back.
Um, I know those. Yeah, you feel the difference in those lifelong connections when
Mm-hmm.
you move across,
For sure.
and the familiar faces, but just different. I feel like I use the word different a lot now in my
Mm-hmm.
mind, where I'm like, that's what it is here.
Yeah,
You know.
I feel like the experience in and of itself is like just a different way of experiencing looking at life. Really, I feel like when you're in a certain place for so long, you're just kind of like, this is my universe. This is the way life is. This is the way everyone does it. And then
Yep.
I don't know, to just be reminded that no, like there's a lot of other ways people are doing it.
Yup.
But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it really puts you to the test where it's like, what do I believe? What do I value? What do I want in my life? Because I could do or have anything, you know, like there's kind of no limit to it at the end of the day. So just kind of going back to, you know, what you're wanting is always going to be there, you know. So having that balance is important and something I've been kind of finding being a reoccurring theme in my life, and something I'm learning a lot from and putting in a lot of energy into, you know, having a better relationship with myself and believing in that and pushing forward and, you know, not immediately expecting people to like recognize or appreciate me or like kind of have that support that I had back, you know, in Wisconsin, but recognizing, you know, that comes from me and that I shouldn't be looking outside of myself for that, you know. So just kind of getting back to that baseline. It's like good experience in and of itself, just being a human being. It's just nice to, you know, be reminded that everybody's, you know, having their own experiences and moving forward in their own way, whatever that might be. So I feel like that's the human condition in the end.
We're all doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you have that empathy, with everyone you may see, because you don't know the battles anyone is going through.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true. I feel really blessed too, you know, for just having a support in my life and knowing that I have that, you know, with my family and my friends and, you know, people that have helped me out through a lot of times in my life where, you know, it's helped to find who I am. And, you know, it's something you don't really recognize until you don't really have that like close to you. And, you know, you just kind of got to find those in other places sometimes. And, you know, just kind of like getting back to the basics of what do I need in my life to be happy and fulfilled, and like who do I connect with in that same way. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's like everything else is just kind of surface level, you know. And when you're meeting hundreds of people every weekend and like having to meet people 4 or 5 times and, you know, going out to like remember their names, like, you know, it's nice to kind of be feeling like you're knowing people and like knowing names and connections and, you know, just takes time for that to happen in life. You know, there's no kind of quick road to happiness. Like you just kind of gotta keep striving for it and looking for what you need, and it'll find you.
I love that mindset, and I lean towards the quality, over quantity, and
Yeah,
in aspects. I mean, relationships too.
for sure.
Yeah, friendships. And I feel struggle to feel like I know new relationships out here. And new people and different.
Yeah.
Again. But I do think that yeah, just recognizing that is the best place to start, and we're
Mhm.
doing that. You know, so we're doing good. We're doing good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, even just we're pushing. Yeah. So you did. Have you had any art shows lately? Then.
Yeah, I've had a few over the last few months. I was doing the Pancakes and Booze events on Broadway. I did another. Honestly, it's kind of a blur.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've been mostly doing kind of like live painting and kind of getting more opportunities to do that at different venues around town. So like Cervantes, I've done like Your Mom's House, Black Box, I think once for a friend that was from the Midwest playing flute, ran into them at a show and they were like, "Oh, my friend's a DJ." And then I was like, "Can I come live paint at your next show?" "Oh yeah, it's on a Saturday." And it was really chill. Like I met a lot of friends that night and it was a good time, but it's nice to even just recognize Denver is such a melting pot and so easy for people to fly out here that, I keep running into people I haven't seen in like 10 years or something, like maybe even further back from before when I left and whatnot. And I don't know, just nice to realize that, connections you make never really go away. People kind of place their importance or like, where you fit into their life at a certain point. But, just nice to feel like you're being seen. Like, you're putting your artwork out there and, people are connecting in it in whatever way or capacity, they're wanting to. So.
Awesome. And I've only seen photos of Pancakes and Booze. Yeah, it seems to be very open room environment, right?
Yeah, it was like 3 floors. There was like 300 artists involved. It was very large events. It was like a line across the block, kind of wrapping around the building.
Cool.
It was a good time. Met a lot of people. Had some friends come out. I guess it's a pop-up they do in a bunch of different cities around the U.S. So a lot of these I'm just, friends are like sending me something on Instagram like, "Oh, you're an artist, like do this event." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." Like I'm just kind of open to whatever opportunities might be out there, Did a few kind of smaller festivals last summer up in the mountains. I'm trying to do some this summer, more like jam bands and stuff I'm into. Just kind of setting the sights on, where do I want to be? Like, how do I want to use my vacation time? Like, I don't know. It's nice having the weekends off, but, when you go for a festival, it's like you got to commit to a few extra days too. So kind of got to pick and choose which ones I'm wanting this summer. Been applying to a lot of things and just kind of like, reaching out for connections that I have and other live artists. I felt like, there are so many different artists out here. It's great to like, make friends with people and like collaborate and hang out and like, just shoot the shit, kind of figure out, what's your way of making it work for you. Like, how do you enjoy doing art? Like, what's your process like? It's just fun experience to, sometimes be doing it and not just be in your room solo, putting in the hours, like-minded people, nice to hang out with.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to shout out or mention before, we may wrap up coming up here?
Nothing too much. Yeah.
Awesome. I really appreciate you coming on here and, sharing your perspective.
For sure.
Yep. And go follow the man's on JR Design. All socials, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Appreciate you tuning in again. We got Paint the Universe, the Artist for Podcast, the podcast for artists. Thank you. Peace.